welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Sunday. Of course, let's go across to our friends over in WA and, of course, speak with the Southside Demons, of course, who play in the WANL competition over there in WA. And, of course, we've got a very special guest joins right now to tell us how the Demons have gone through the first couple of weeks of the season. Thanks, Ash, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, the first couple of weeks have been really interesting. Probably a bit of a roller coaster start to the season, but definitely cementing some good things. I mean, we literally have 2 games left of round 1, and then we're into round 2. So, like, it's gone really quickly, and hopefully we can start cementing some of those things that we need to start putting in place to hopefully be there at the end.
Are you reasonably satisfied where you are at the moment, going into obviously the back half of round 1?
Look, like we just played Raw, and obviously they're probably one of the top contenders, and to only lose to them by 6, they were obviously missing a couple of players. We were obviously missing one of our defenders, Chanel, which is really positive. We still created some really positive structures and plays, and it's just a matter of now of obviously like building on that. So I think we're sitting in a really good position, and it's just maybe like solidifying or just nutting out those small little details or critical moments, I think, now, and then obviously continuing to push.
Now, I know your season started much earlier than everyone else around the country. I think your season finishes probably late June if you go all the way.
Yep.
I guess is the aim to make the finals and hopefully go as far as you can?
Of course. I mean, there's no point playing a sport if you don't aim to make a final. Like, is that everyone wants to play finals? I mean, if you play a team sport and you're happy to just kind of compete every week, then should you really be playing? I guess. Like, what's the point of putting all your hard work into preseason and through games and then not being able to like finish the season off in a final? So yeah, definitely, of course.
Now, you mentioned you had a week off, played the Raw. This week you got another week off before you're playing again. I have to ask, is the bye sort of work in your favour, or you'd rather be playing like constantly every week? Because obviously with week on, week off, week on, week off.
I think it's just school holidays come into play, nationals. There's a lot of boys from our club that are over playing nationals at the moment. So I think the boys had like 6 or 7 at training. So there's no way they'd be able to fulfill a team if they had to play. It's just really hard because I mean we've literally just smashed out 4 rounds. We get a week off and then we play another game. We get a week off and then we play one more. And then I don't think we have a week off till the end of June. So it probably was a little bit hard to get some consistency on the game, but I mean, when you have like, unfortunately, we did have a bit of an injury, so that will be nice to let that player have a week off, and then obviously come back, and then we can go from there.
You mentioned about nationals. Obviously, the men's team obviously are in Brisbane. Obviously, they just finished yesterday.
Yep.
Obviously, our nationals here starts this coming week with 17s and 19s. Have you got any that are currently here in Melbourne this coming week?
We don't personally. Our kind of, other than myself, my sister and Chanel, and Nicola Cox, who are a little bit older, all the girls are kind of 21, 22. So they're kind of out of that range of 17s, 19s, kind of state rep teams. But yeah, so we've more got more players at the men's and mixed nationals.
And have you been following how they've been going? I know WA did reasonably well.
Yeah, look, I follow quite a few of them on Instagram, so it was like nice to see them up and about. And then I think unfortunately they didn't quite make the final. I also obviously follow a couple of players outside of the Demons Club, and yeah, I think the young boys did quite well, which is like really positive for WA and men and boys in this state to actually be able to have a pathway now, and they can actually compete in the state league. So I think that's really positive for them.
Now let's talk a bit about your netball journey. Where did it all start and why did you choose it, Ash?
I think I don't think I really chose netball. I was kind of just at netball because my mum, who is also at nationals, she's the I don't think she's quite the manager, but she helps on the board for the Thunder process. And basically she was just at netball, so why not play if I'm going to be there all day? And obviously Kyra played, so it was just kind of, I was there, so I might as well join in. And then it was just something I was okay at. But I also did triathlon and athletics growing up as well, but netball kind of was more in my favour.
So you just mentioned, obviously, Cara just a moment ago. Who's the better netballer?
Oh, me, of course.
Fair enough. I
No,
was expecting that answer.
oh, we both have different. Both have very different styles and attributes, and I like it's so hard. Like especially when because she's a center quarter. So yeah, like there's things that she does that there's no way I could do, and there's things that I can do that there's no way she can do. So it's just really funny. But yeah, it's been nice to obviously share this journey, and obviously we'll play this season together, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's been nice for her to come back, and then obviously us to play together.
First of all, mention what position you play on the court, and if you had a dream position, we love to convince your Demons coaches to put you, whether that be.
I think Josie already knows this. So, I mean, I'm a goal attack. I can also play wing attack and goal shooter. But I mean, I think I've probably mentioned to Josie numerous times, which Chanel has mentioned to Josie numerous times. If we ever needed a goal attack, Chanel would be up. Or if, like, I mean, I always put my hand up to play defense. Not very good at it. I like to just think that I can play it, but yeah, definitely goal defense.
Now, any highlights throughout your netball journey, Ash?
It's probably been quite a few. Oh look, I spent a good couple of years playing in the UK, which I really enjoyed. So played for a couple of teams over there. Now it's hard when you've been playing for so long. Like I don't think I've been playing netball more of my life than I haven't. I mean definitely in WA. Um, well, 10 years ago today, I won Jill Mack. I also won Players Player and Player of the Year, I was the first person to only ever win those all three accolades. Um, but then I think just my time in the UK, it's such a different culture over there, and they have such a different outlook on netball as a semi-professional league over there, and it's just enjoyable. So it was just a lot of fun.
When you were over there, did you ever thought that you could hopefully maybe go to the Super League?
Look, it was definitely an option. My parents were actually born in the UK, so I have a I had a British passport. I actually just let it expire. But no one wants that anymore. I technically to them I wasn't an import. So I was kind of worth a little bit more because I had a better playing style than some of their up and coming players. But I wasn't worth one of their import spots because they're only allowed two. So yeah, it was kind of interesting because not a lot of there's a few Aussies that go across now, and the league is getting better, which is where they want it to go. It's still not quite there yet, but it's definitely getting better. So yeah, I was a little bit worth a little bit more because I had a British passport, so I wasn't taking one of their import spots as well.
Also mentioned about your Clean Sweeper Awards there in WA, which hasn't been done before, hasn't done since. Is that still something that you'll remember the most about it? And I guess, do you still brag with with everyone else in the competition that you clean sweep the competition?
Do you know what? It's 10 years ago, and so many of the girls that like play now weren't even in. They was probably still in nappies. So it's actually quite funny. In the WANL Centre at the moment, they celebrate every 10 years, and obviously it's been 10 years since I did that. And then actually 10 years before that is when I played, we were Sparks, and that was the first time a club had ever won all three divisions. And yeah, so a lot of like a lot of even my teammates were still in nappies then, like in 2004. So it's like it feels like a lifetime ago, but it's none of them were even, looking at playing state league back then. So they would have no idea. And it's really interesting. We did a culture session with like our whole club, and we were talking about obviously what we want our values and stuff to be. And they were like, oh, well, they were like, oh, we want to leave a legacy. And I was like, do you know what our legacy is and how successful we were during a period of time? And they were like, no. And I was like, but we don't want that to be your legacy. We want you to create your own. We're just here to, like, I guess the older players are just here to help you create that. And yeah, so they were like, oh, we had no idea like the success that you had from like 2004 to say like 2014. And because a lot of them weren't around, but that's just how long I've been around.
Following up from that, what does the sport of netball mean to you now and playing for the Southside Demons?
Look, I've been here like 17 years, other than the 5 years that I played in the UK. I've never played for any other club here. I've only ever played for Demons. Um, it's just where my heart, like, I wouldn't play for anyone else. I think, like, it's just, I don't know. It's just where I've grown up. It's just where I want to be. It's where my loyalty lies. I wouldn't play for anyone else. And I think that's just because, not because I think it's just the respect that I have for my club. And yeah, like, I don't know. I just couldn't play for anyone else.
And what will be your advice to people in WA that should head down to, of course, the Netball Centre there in Perth to check out some WANL competition action once it sort of restarts after nationals in 2 weeks?
Definitely head down. Like, I think we're getting bigger and bigger crowds, and I think that's because we're getting a variety of games on one night. So you can watch a 20s game. So you watch the young girls that are, aspiring to keep pushing and playing up in the league, and obviously, then there's probably some really bright WA future athletes. But then you also get the men, and they're completely different style, like, of game. They're so loud and passionate and aerial. They also got a bit of a cheeky side too, some of them. But then obviously you get us, and we're dynamic and agile, and I don't think people still understand how fast the game is in live. So yeah, definitely, it's also a lot more physical than people realize too.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned about the men's because WA is still the only state league competition that still has the men's in their league. Tell us for everyone else around the country, how important has the men's been to not just your club and your team, but as a whole competition?
Look, I think they started with 4 clubs the last couple of years, which is a little bit like, it's hard because you play one team 3 times, and unfortunately for our boys, they really were like a foundation team. They didn't have a lot of like boys that have been around for a long time, like someone like Jerome Gilbert, Matt Brown, Scotty Austin. Those boys were playing when I was like 30. Scotty Austin and Matt Brown, they were playing when I was like 13. Like, I watched them play in the last state league that the men's had. So then obviously having your boys like Jerome Gilbert and Dylan McPherson, who also trained with Fever, and Draven Lee Tarora, who also trained with Fever, is only making their competition better. And it makes it such a nice feeling to know that they're actually setting the pathway for young boys to be able to go somewhere. And we're seeing more and more boys play at an association level, and at least they can aspire to play something other than a football or a soccer and enjoy it, because they obviously go down on a Saturday, enjoy it. So now they can actually see where they want to go and work their way towards it, which is really positive, because this year they have 5 teams. I know the last year they actually threw in a fast 5 round, because it was obviously a little bit monogamous with the same teams kind of dominating. Now, obviously, we've had enough interest, and last year I believe they had maybe 12 players and 3 train-ons, whereas this year I'm pretty sure they've gone to 10 and 2 train-ons or 3 train-ons, which means those extra players are having to push to that 5th team, or they all have to spread out, which is nice. You probably got still 1 or 2 teams that are dominating, but the other 3 teams are kind of like at least being competitive with each other. I know our boys got the first win in like 2 years, I think, against Warriors. So they were super excited. And it's something they were kind of like, they've been edging for and just not being able to finish off. And then obviously they finally did. So the whole club got around them, which is something like really exciting for them too. Considering they probably don't have we don't have any kind of names like Jerome or Dylan or anyone that trains with Fever or anyone that's been around like that high intensity. So it's quite nice for them to be building a little foundation.
Let's finish off with a couple of lighthearted questions about your teammates there at Demons. Who's the comedian, the best singer, and the best dancer on the team?
Oh, I think the best dancer would have to be Abby. She's a quiet little dancer in the corner. If you can catch her in the change room, she will be doing a little dance. Ali would have to be the best comedian. She is quite witty when she wants to be, and she can be, but it's kind of something you don't expect. So it's like, okay, like you kind of like, okay, that just came from Ali. Okay. And best singer. We don't really have any singers in the team. Not that I've noticed anyway that sing in the change room. I'm gonna say the best singer would be Chanel.
Do you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
I wouldn't say like superstition. I do have like kind of just like a routine where I'll have a shower, get ready. I actually do straighten my hair because it sits nicer in a ponytail. But not like anything that I have to do. I think just because I've been playing for so long, I'm like, well, if I'm not good enough now, nothing that I do before the game or superstition is going to help me. Yeah, so probably not. I do like to have a shower, feel fresh, straighten my hair, so at least I can put it up nicely, and then that's kind of it.
Does the team have a fire system this year?
Not really like an end of season trip. Has Chanel apparently makes, I don't know if she actually makes notes or like on her phone or just like mental notes of things that happen. You're like, that is worth a fine. Like just, or like, for example, like someone wearing the wrong shirt to training, because we've gone to a black to a red rather than a black to a red. So we've swapped. And sometimes the girls are like, I don't know if I'm wearing the right shirt. And then obviously, so yeah, if you wear the wrong shirt, she's like, yeah, that's definitely a fine, but it's more, it might be a shot at the end of the season rather than money towards something.
We'll finish with these last two then. Any good nicknames in the team that we should know about?
We're all pretty simple. We actually went through this like a couple weeks ago, because obviously if I don't like being called Ash, like we obviously wanted to tell each other if we had a name that we didn't want to be called. Just like a little bit of respect, but also too, like secretly I might like hate it, but I'm not going to tell anyone because I don't want to upset anyone. So no, we were all pretty basic, like with just like Ash and Kyra, Nelly, Mega. Yeah, it wasn't anything out of the ordinary.
Does the team have a pump-up song?
We do. It's the Veronicas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Untouched, Veronicas. So we actually sing this in the change room. We don't actually sing the song. We sing like a little tune, like theme to the song.
Yeah.
which a few players still are getting used to. But we all actually get into it, which actually fires us up, which is something we used to do like 20 years ago. But yeah, so it's actually Veronica's Untouched. And funny enough, the West Coast Eagles just did a clip on this.
The last question, the last part of that question I was going to ask is there one team in the competition that you love to beat the most?
Oh, all of them. I mean, I'd love to say I'd love to beat all of them. We probably haven't got a win against Comets Raw in a good couple of years.
Okay.
We have a really good tussle with Sharks. So we tend to, like last season, we won the first game, lost the second game, or the other way around, and then lost to them in the final. Not really. I don't really have that much like I don't really dislike any players, so it's no.
Well, Ash, thank you so much for getting up some of your time to join us. Best of luck for the remainder of the season. Obviously, we're already at the halfway stage of the year, and let's hope for Southside Demons that you can reach the finals again, and hopefully go a couple steps further, and hopefully we'll see you in the big dance back in about mid-June.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No worries. That's Ashley Neal there, joins from the Southside Demons netball team in the WANL competition. Of course, they will put all the details up on the net schedule games they've got coming up after the Nationals this week. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the 10th year celebration.